You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome into this Sunday morning live edition of the Uptempo Podcast. We are here every Sunday morning. I'm your host, Justin Smith, with my guy, Nick Frazier from the Water Cooler Talk Podcast. Nick, what's up, baby? I woke up to a little snow on the ground this morning, my guy, in Florida.
Yeah, man, I'm over here in Mobile, and I saw we didn't have accumulation, but I saw some flurries at like 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I woke up, looked outside in the car. I said, "What's that on my car?" Oh, oh, quickly heating up, though. Quickly heating up, just like Alex Golesh.
Yes,
and this staff, man, and Warsaw, these guys have been going to work. I made a post on X yesterday. I said, I just don't know if Auburn has seen a work ethic and an attitude from its head coach like that, like they're getting from Alex Golesh, at least going back to Tubbs. And that's no shot at the other guys. It's not saying that like Gus wasn't great, and just the combination of like, man, just willing to work. I am not sure if the guy slept since he's become Auburn's head coach. And now part of this is it's required. If he was, if took this job, they're like, this is what you were gonna have to do.
Yep.
But look, these last couple of guys, I don't know if they've done everything that was required. So it's a good feeling, man. It's a good feeling to look at this and say, we got I think we got a dog. And I'm not saying, I haven't given a single win-loss prediction yet. I'm usually like the last person to put that out. I wait until the week before opening kickoff. I want to get fall camp info, injuries, all that kind of stuff settled. So I don't, I'm not going to come on here and say like, I know Alex Golesh is going to work out as Auburn. It might not, I really, really don't know on this one. I want the fan in me, but I've been hurt, Nick. I've been hurt before, so I'm cautious. I approach with caution, like somebody who's been through a bunch of traumatic relationships. Eventually, you just, I don't know, trust issues. I got some trust issues. I got to work through at Auburn right now. But one thing we can say, man, is Alex Golesh and the staff is doing everything possible. They're putting in the work. No one can question their work ethic, and that in itself is a nice little change of pace for Auburn. I don't think there's going to be any Alex Golesh golf jokes this offseason. I'm willing to bet. It's going to be a lot about football. Added a big addition yesterday, Nick. Let's start off here. Deshaun Womack from Ole Miss originally played at LSU. Auburn kind of needed a high-level type SEC talent at that edge position. Definitely needed a guy with experience because that room is pretty young, pretty inexperienced. You got that yesterday in Deshaun Womack. What do you see in this edition, and what do you think it means for this defense moving forward in 2026?
Yeah, for everybody that looks at trying to find a guy that has played in an SEC environment, that has played against teams that are in the SEC and want to understand what the SEC is and the competition of it and things, stuff like that, you should be happy about this. Especially like you just said, you had Nate Johnson on the roster. Nate Johnson didn't get a lot of play at Missouri last year. I think his best stats came from Appalachian State. He had like 76 total tackles, 10 sacks in 2 seasons there. But you have a guy in Deshaun Womack that actually has played meaningful snaps in a lot of games in the conference, and coming right across the border there, the state border there, and he's coming in. He was part of a winning team this past year. A big guy, 6'5", I think he was 250 if I'm not mistaken, or something of that nature. A guy in an area of need, like you said, we gotta find a way to get pressure on the quarterback, especially off the edges and off the ends and stuff of that nature. So I'm excited about it because this was probably the area on the roster where I was getting a little more concerned, because you lost Keyron Crawford at the buck position, you losing Keldrick Falk at the end position, you lost Mars Williams, you lost Jamonta Waller. And you had Jared Smith coming back, who had, really good season as a freshman. He got some meaningful snaps. But after him, there were some question marks there, and things stuff of that nature. So now you go out and you add two guys that have been associated with teams in the conference. One of those guys having played significant snaps. And you look at the size. I think both guys are 6'5", 240, 250 apiece. So yeah, I mean, solid pieces, solid additions to the roster, and I'm excited about. Excuse me. I'm excited about pairing them with the Jared Smith, seeing what a Joe Phillips does. You have a Jarquez Wilkes coming in this class as well, who's more than likely going to get some significant playing time, if it's anything like what Jared Smith played last year. So, I mean, the room is stacking up to be potentially, as the season go on, gets better and better. But I can't wait to see what happens and see exactly what the production of that room looks like.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if Jarquez Wilkes can get on the field or not.
Yes.
That would be if he can come in and give you something similar to what Jared Smith gave you in his freshman season, then that would be big time for Auburn. Deshaun Womack, all of a sudden, Nick, everybody from Baltimore wants to come down to Auburn, Alabama. Yeah. Originally a 5-star from St. Francis Academy. I think a lot of that obviously is DJ Durkin with his ties up there. There's another coach on Auburn's
Wayne Henry.
Right, Wayne Henry.
Yep.
So less coaches now from Baltimore, and obviously former teammates, getting other teammates to come play with him and stuff like that. Originally signed with LSU. At LSU, Womack had 21 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, and 4 pass deflections. And then last year got a lot more reps at Ole Miss, finished with 27 tackles, 4.5 for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Like you said, Nick, he's coming in at 6'5", 265 pounds. So, definitely going to be the senior guy, definitely going to be the veteran in that room. Played a lot of college football, has a lot of reps under his belt. Hopefully he can show those young guys what it takes, what it means to be a college football player. And so this we can kind of use this to transition into the second part of our discussion here, what we like and what we are concerned about. Before we get into that, I want to say this before we start this discussion. And I've said it a couple times on the show, but I just want to reiterate it, get new listeners every episode. What Alex Golesh and this staff, the task that was ahead of them, extremely difficult. So that needs to be considered. When the roster was set, and if we're sitting there at A-Day and we're saying to ourselves, I feel like from a talent perspective, this team is not what it was. It doesn't look the same as last year. That's probably going to be reality, right? I'll say this. I've said this before too. You're going to, in 3 years, you're going to be turning on an NFL Sunday. You're going to have on Red Zone, and there's going to be so many people from last year's 5-7 Auburn team. Most of them have since transferred out. That are going to be in the pros, and you're just going to look around and you're going to go, "How in the world did my team go 5-7 this year?" And we all know the answer. There's no reason to get too much into that. But I just want to say, I want to really reiterate here. I understand the monumental task that these guys had. There was, there's all that discussion about could you retain the roster and all that. And I'm not, look, I think it's reasonable to ask that, and it is reasonable to have wanted to keep all of that talent because we never looked at the players and said, oh, they're the issue, right? We knew that it was really the head coach not putting these guys in position to succeed. But everything that's happened, and we've talked about it a lot in terms of culture, had to be done. And also, it's just, I'll continue to use the example of if you work at a company and a manager interviews you and the interview goes great and you work for that company for a couple of years, and then one day they make a change in management, you might leave the company. And you might not even have a problem with the new manager. This has happened to me. Happened to me a couple years ago. I had no beef with the new manager. She just wasn't the way she wanted to do things. Her schedule, just everything that she wanted to do was not what I accepted during my interview with the original management. So worked out my 2-week notice and moved on amicably, right? There was no issue. So a lot of that is just, you just have to accept that in college football right now. if there's going to be a coaching change, there's probably going to be a lot of roster turnover.
Yep.
So that's just part of it. And then this is the part about this that the staff faced, Nick, that was really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive and defensive line, you have to completely rebuild it.
Yes. Yes.
That's really hard to do in the transfer portal when guess what everybody else needs?
The same thing.
Offensive and defensive line. Everybody needs edge rushers.
Everybody needs it, man.
Everybody needs tackles.
Yes, they do, man.
So it's really the task that they face here in year one has been really difficult. And as we move forward into the offseason and all that kind of stuff, my expectations will be set according to that and understanding of that. But when we talk about some of the things that the staff has done, let's start with what we like in the transfer portal.
Okay.
And the obvious answer here could be Byron Brown. So I want to go a little bit of a different route there. But I will say you cannot I've seen a lot of people just write that off. Not in terms of the player that he is, but in terms of Auburn getting it done by saying, well, I mean, he's already played for Coach Golesh for 3 years. Respectfully, that's a lot of national media people that kind of take that, and I get it. You know, they got a lot of teams to try to cover. I understand. If you live in the weeds of Auburn and you've been bitten by the big bad Java monster before, then you know that it's not just that. Like, this is a quarterback that could have demanded a very high price tag on the market.
Yes.
And you just saw Miami's willing to play dirty.
They are.
Miami is willing to play dirty to get a quarterback.
Come on back out of the draft. Come on.
Ask Duke. Okay. They're willing to do some stuff, man. So it's a dog eat dog world out there. Like, it's crazy. Alex Golesh, when he went on Tiger Talk a couple weeks ago, he said it's like gloves off type mentality right now. Everyone's just trying to get it how they live in this portal. So a quarterback like that was super productive, that's a veteran that's played a lot of football. I don't care that his head coach was I guess it helps. Obviously, it helps. You've already got a foot in the door. Sure. I used the analogy before it happened. You're running down the court. All you got to do, there's no one even at half court. We just got to lay it up. It's a wide open layup. But, hey, I credit the staff and I credit Auburn in particular, the institution, for not blowing the wide open layup.
Exactly.
I like the pickup of Cody Sigler, Nick.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
down there on that D line from Arkansas State. I like that pickup a lot. Because one, I like the player. I see they're not the same player, but in terms of like projection, I can kind of see a Caron Crawford who came from the same school. Big position of need. Yes. I thought that Auburn had kind of lost that battle. I thought he was kind of trending elsewhere. Okay, and then Auburn swoops back in and just does what they need to do to get that one wrapped up. So that's a big pickup. You beat a lot of teams out for. And also, I'm going to stay on the defensive line with Walter Mathis Jr. I love that pickup as well because cracking the D-line rotation in the SEC, pretty difficult. LSU always got talented guys up front. So to get in that, to crack that rotation and to get in there and to play in all 12 games, LSU didn't want to lose him. And I'm looking at this staff right now. We'll talk about this in the last segment in terms of high school recruiting. I'm looking at what battles can they win. I have no issue with you bringing over the amount of USF guys that you brought over. But, you know, did you really win a battle for them? Auburn was in a battle with Tennessee for Walter Mathis Jr., and Tennessee's been a lot more successful than Auburn recently. And Auburn was able to come away with that one. So I love that pickup. And then as a room, I'm looking at tight end, and I'm very intrigued. When you kind of look at what this staff has done, give me a couple of guys or maybe an area that you're excited about moving forward, and maybe that they've upgraded, or that you just think that with the circumstances they face, they've done a good job.
The Cody Sigler pick is very interesting. I did a video about Cody Sigler, and I thought, and when I did a video about Cody Sigler when it happened, because of the fact, you needed a 3-tech defensive tackle that can disrupt the pass rush. Now, you know what a 3-tech is? 3-tech is the defensive lineman that lines up on the outside shoulder of the guard. So heads up the center is 0. In between the center and the guard is the 1. 2 is heads up the guard. 3-tech is outside shade of the outside shade shoulder of of the guard. So when you lost Malik Blockerton, you lost that. You know, you lost a guy that was able to kind of control that area of the field and be effective in that part of the field. Getting Cody Sigler, I think his stats were like 37 total tackles. I think he had like 5 sacks or something of that nature. He had a fumble return for a touchdown as well, like ran it back for a touchdown. Getting him in the fold, and then watching him play, watching some of his tape, he's not gonna jump off the film, but he's gonna do what he needs to do in order to control the middle. The problem that I've always had with Auburn's pass rush is I think the ends and the edges do a very, very good job of rushing the deepest shoulder of the quarterback, but you never had enough pressure up the middle to where when the quarterback stepped up in the pocket, he always had a lane to escape. So now when you have guys like Jordan Crawford, Malik Autry, Cody Sigler, while Mathis in there now, if you can get Dallas Walker back for another year,
that'd be huge, man.
That would be big. That would be big. If you're able to get those guys back, now you're able to have a rotation in the middle of the defensive line to where now when those guys are getting pressure on the quarterback and they're rushing the deepest shoulder of the quarterback, that's just something that you just always do as an end or edge. When he steps up in the pocket, now there is pressure in his face, and now you can basically collapse the pocket on the quarterback. And what that does is on the back end, it either causes errant passes, it causes a lot of sacks, causes a lot of QB hurries, it causes a lot of strip sacks as well, because it just gives you that extra half a second for somebody to get to the quarterback to make a play. So I like the Cody Sigler pick. I'm gonna always go with I'm on the offensive side of the ball. Auburn has it even though the past 2 seasons we've had 2 guys, one guy that went over 1,000 and one that was close to it. It just felt as if the running game was not a priority for Auburn. It didn't feel like that. It felt like those guys got their yards because in spite of the running game. It's what it felt like. Even though Jeremiah Cobb almost got it. I'm gonna go with Bryson Washington and Nakai Davenport. I mean, two guys that according to their measurables are the exact same height and weight, 6 foot, 216 pounds. Bryson Washington transferred from Baylor. 2024 season, he went over 1,000 yards. 2024 season, he went over 1,000 yards. Last year, Nakai Davenport had 98 carries for what I think is like 612 yards. He was averaging 6.2 yards per carry. So you have 2 bigger backs, not a lot of breakaway speed. They're not going to burn you, in the open field. But when you look at this offense and what a lot of people and very, very a very valid criticism of this offense is how does it work in the red zone? When you get in the red zone and the field condenses and now you can't really spread it horizontally and you don't have the effect of spreading it vertically as well. Now you have to run the ball and you have to get creative. You may want to do switch release off the line with a tight end and a wide receiver. I mean, that may not work all the time. And you don't want to just have 50-50 fade balls all the time. You want to be able to give the ball to a big body back that's going to be able to get 2 yards when you're on the 3-yard line or get down to the 1, or you on the 1-yard line, you're just trying to push it in. So having those 2 guys in there, 6 foot, 216 guys that can carry the ball and are durable, I think is going to be very, very, beneficial for Auburn down the stretch, because as Joel Gordon said, he said, if you want to win games, you have to be able to run the ball in November. If you want to win games in November, you got to be able to run the football consistently. And, having that 3-headed monster, as what I call it, the 3-headed monster of Washington, Davenport, Cobb in the backfield, now it takes a lot of pressure off of Jeremiah Cobb. And now he doesn't have to be the main horse or the main guy. Now you can spread that kind of evenly across guys and have healthy running backs when you get late in the season, when you're trying to compete and when you're trying to compete and get a slot and conference championship talk or college football talk, or even just trying to get seating for a better bowl. So I'm always looking at the running game, man, and I believe those two additions were solid additions. And I'm gonna say the Bryson Washington edition probably, I don't know, to some fans probably came out of left field, because when you had Davenport come in, you thought it would just be the 1-2 punch of those two guys. But now you add another bona fide running back that has played college football, and I think he has 2 years of eligibility left, if I'm not mistaken, if he decides to use both of them. I think Auburn is set up perfectly for potentially, you know, being able to run that ball down the stretch and being able to kind of manhandle some people in late in games if the offensive line pans out.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Because that's why I didn't go with Bryson Washington, because there's a part to that. Will he have the running lanes? That's my big question. But I will say, man, in terms of that addition, and then kind of looking at the running back room as a whole, it's hard to not be excited. It's really hard to not be excited. You got your veteran guy in Jeremiah Cobb. You got Bryson Washington, who complements him well, a very different style, but has played a lot of football. He's a veteran guy as well. And you brought in Davenport, and you still got your young guys and Mabson and Alvin there that still got a ton of potential and got, you know, the whole future ahead of them. So I love the room top to bottom. It makes a lot of sense in terms of layered depth, in terms of experience, in terms of like the combination, how they can complement each other. And that's hard to do. It's hard to layer depth. It's hard to build complementary players and pieces in the transfer portal era. So like, I really like where Auburn is at in that running back room. We'll get to our concerns, but first let's get to some of these comments. We got a good crowd getting in here. If you're just now getting in here, or if you're in here and you haven't smashed that like button yet, what are we doing? It's absolutely free. Just push that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the Uptempo podcast today. Nick says, Nick, where are you at in Mobile? Do you feel comfortable disclosing your location to the people?
Yeah, man, I'm in West Mobile. So yeah, I'm in West Mobile. If you know West Mobile, then you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm in West Mobile, not too far away from South Alabama's campus.
Gotcha. We will be there soon, Matt.
Yes, next week.
Yes, good time, man. How about the O lineman from Stanford? There was an offensive lineman visiting from Stanford. I have a list of names here of high school guys and portal guys. It's really hard to keep up with all these names. It was hard to keep up with the high school recruiting, but you kind of had like 15 to 20 names that you were like, all right, you know, this is who we're after right now, and you can kind of get it. Man, with the portal, goodness gracious. But there is an offensive lineman from Stanford that visited yesterday. We'll see how that plays out. I don't have a whole lot of intel or information on that one. Alex Brown says, War Eagle, good morning. Can expect big news from the portal today regarding the North Carolina defensive lineman. Yeah, that would be awesome. Awesome.
DeAndre Robinson, he was at Auburn, said he had a really good visit, but he had another visit to Oregon that he said he's going to take all his visits. So he took his visit to Oregon yesterday. I don't know if he's still there or not. I believe he is. I think he leaves today. I think you should be hearing a decision from him later on this afternoon or tomorrow at the earliest.
If Auburn beats Oregon,
that's
for a big time defensive lineman. At a big position of need. It's gonna tell me something. But always we say that, and we know the D-line coach. We know he can win these battles. So you know, but that would be I'd start to feel really good about that defensive line if you're able to pull that one off. That would be a big get for Auburn, absolutely. Susan asks, do you have snow? I got snow in Pensacola. Nick had snow in West Mobile. I actually had a little bit more than expected. We have probably about an inch out there. So yeah, we had a little bit of snow.
It snows again.
Yeah. Nothing like last year though. That was crazy.
Oh yeah, last year was wild. Oh man. My dog went outside and ran around in the snow. But he was on it was crazy, man. He didn't know what was going on. He was like, what is this?
The most Florida boy thing I've ever done is Google how to build a snowman.
Oh man.
We were the only were out there like making snow castles like they were sand castles. Like, how do you do this?
Oh, it was great, man.
Had to watch a YouTube video. Literally watch the YouTube video on how to.
I got a question. Do you think YouTube should be accredited as like a legit university?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think because think about it. Like, if you ever decide you want to figure something out, you'd be like, well, let me just go YouTube it real quick, because I'm pretty sure somebody done put it up on YouTube.
Bro, I found everything. I mean, I was stuck. I'm playing Dying Light, the zombie video game.
See what I'm saying?
I'm stuck. I'm like,
what I'm saying?
It's on a very specific part Like you're climbing this tower. There's one little bar. I'm like, how do you even get to that?
See what I'm saying?
Never would have figured it out.
See,
if YouTube didn't exist. So
I tell you this, I was playing. When I first started playing Call of Duty, I was doing the campaign, and I was trying to figure out how to get through the campaign. And I did the campaign on like the easiest mode, so I could get through it,
right.
And then go back and do it on the hardest mode. And somebody had went through every level of the campaign and recorded it. So I sat there and watched and did exactly what they did and passed it. And then went back on the hard mode and just went through it. Like, man, YouTube should be accredited. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I've fixed little issues. I'm not a mechanic, but I've identified and fixed little issues on my car and stuff before. And yeah, so it's there, man. It's there, and it can be very helpful. It can be detrimental too.
Yeah, it could be.
I've had some nights where I've gone down some ridiculous rabbit holes. Marshall says, I like the long snapper Auburn. Now let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Marshall's tapped in with the long snapper. Hey, you gotta have a good long snapper, man.
Hudson Powell. That's his name.
Yeah, let's put some. What's up, Hudson Powell? Let's put some emphasis on special teams at Auburn this season.
All I'm saying is, hey, as Dustin said, he may be important, but if the punter is still out here just playing 30, 40,
I'm gonna trust him.
I'm just saying.
They say he was told to do that. We're
All
gonna
right.
see. Yeah, we're gonna see. Facts, Dustin. Change is the only thing constant in business, and you're either with it or you aren't. Both are fine. Yeah, buddy. Absolutely. Nick, plug the water cooler talk because Contrarian here just wants to hear your opinions. They're such a, appropriately named here. So if they just want to hear Nick, this Contrarian doesn't want to hear me. Yeah.
Wow.
Where can they find your opinions, Nick?
Yeah, so if you want to, man, Water Cooler Talk Sports, man. We talk college football, SEC football, and of course Auburn football, Monday through Friday. Live shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And of course, we put out videos 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, man. Of course, and if you want to get more of the written work from Water Cooler Talk Sports, man, you can go to www.watercoolertalksports.com. On there, you'll find written work across the college football, SEC football, transfer portal, Auburn football news. There hasn't been updated in the past couple of days because the end of last week got really, really hectic for me. But that should be starting to get updated tonight, going into tomorrow, next week. There's a lot of stories that we're gonna be writing there. So, man,
rocking Rodney's shirt.
Yeah, Black Magic, man. Shout out to Black Magic.
What's up, man? Rodney?
Rodney Williamson, Black Magic. Y'all see it.
Yeah,
y'all see it. The Black Magic.
Where my shirt at, Rodney? You've been telling me and Pops you gonna send one. I'll text you, Rodney. AU Sleeping Giant says Dustin can back me up. I've been saying to expect a full rebuild with the new coaches comes massive changes to both the staff and the roster. 100%, man. 100%. This is and I get it. I understand because I have a hard time with it too. I'm not talking down to anybody, man. I get it. I know why it's hard to program our brains and kind of retrain our thoughts. We've been college football fans for so long, we're so used to the way that things work. And the sport is fundamentally different. Everything about it, for the most part, is different, especially roster construction and all that kind of stuff. So, we all love the 04 Auburn Tigers. I have a hard time believing that, like, a lot of those guys don't transfer out after 03 if it was today's day and age, right? So
that's a good point.
Yeah, so just like getting Cadillac or Ronnie to come back, how would you been able to pull that off? All those receivers, everybody on that defense, I just don't know, man. So there's a lot that's changed about the sport in the last couple of years, and we just got to get used to this. We got to understand, like, I mean, look at LSU.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin was the guy. In terms of this coaching cycle, was he not the top candidate?
He was.
Okay, he was the one that everybody viewed as the dude. They've had to completely rebuild pretty much that entire offense over there, but his whole starting O-line said, up in the portal. Now, and that's Lane Kiffin, who just took Ole Miss to the playoff. I know he left and all that, but I'm saying, like, there's proof of concept on the offensive side of the ball with Lane Kiffin. He comes in, half that offense still left.
Yeah.
And I bet if you pulled those kids, I bet if you talked to the players that left LSU individually, and you asked them, they would probably tell you, yeah, I believe that Lane Kiffin's going to score points. Like, I don't think they think, oh, he sucks, I got to go. It's just a lot.
Yep.
that goes into all this, man. A lot. We see certain things as fans on the outside. These guys are in it every single day, man. Yeah, when you have, and also I'll say this. I use the example a lot about bosses. Sometimes a boss comes in and he is completely different than the previous boss. That's when you really see everybody at the company like, whoa, you're redoing everything.
Yep.
Well, we were allowed to be on our phones as long as we weren't on the sales floor.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden you're saying we can't do that.
Yep.
Things like that. Alex Golesh is that dude.
Yep.
Okay. He's come in and said, hey, no more with a lot of this crap. Guys that got used to that crap and it being allowed and all that. Yeah, they're going to go, man. They're going to go. Great point, Sleeping Giant. And yeah, I will back you up on that one. You've been saying it. You were right there with me, from the jump saying is this roster retention really even possible? Sellers since 84 says, I think Crawford and Autry will have a breakout season. Oh man, if Crawford could be could reach his potential and start to crack that rotation, that would be huge. And Autry obviously got a good amount of reps last year, considering that he was a true freshman on that D line. Yeah, we need big years from these guys, Nick. I think a big year from Autry for sure. And I would love to see Crawford do what he did in high school.
I'm a Jordan Crawford fan. Everybody knows how I feel about Elijah Melendez. Everybody knows I made a video about Elijah Melendez when he committed. Jordan Crawford's right there. He right there. I think I stated last year, I said, I think Jordan Crawford by his third year would be the best defensive player in college football. I think he has that type of talent and that ability. Like I wholeheartedly believe that. I watched this man play in high school and just dominate. Mm-hmm. And I think he has that ability to be the best defensive player, not at Auburn, not in the SEC, but in college football. When he reaches his full potential and it clicks, that is a first round draft pick on your hand. I want people to understand that. That is a draft pick right there. But hey, hopefully, man.
Yeah, I remember during the workouts last year, the offseason workouts, I would check in with sources from time to time and be like, I know it's just workouts, but what are you hearing? What are you seeing there? They would be like, Jordan Crawford's a monster out there.
Trying to tell you, man.
Yeah, listen, dude, true freshman in the SEC in the trenches. It's hard.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited about Walter Mathis Jr. I think he's a good football player. His best football is coming up soon. So yeah, I'm not the fact that Crawford didn't play much last year doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. Because he's young and on that D line, and I'm with you, Nick. If he hits, that's NFL. Everything about it's NFL. So, and I think he got the coaching staff that's going to get the best out of him. That's the other part too, where it's like we've just seen at receivers. No one's ever going to say Auburn's wide receiver room last year sucked.
Yeah.
If you and to the couple people that do comment that underneath, shut up. You don't know. Please shut up. No, they don't. Cam Coleman sucked anyway. No, he didn't. But you knew how talented they were.
Yeah, they talented.
But you didn't have any faith in the coaching or the scheme to get it out of them. When we look at those young guys in Autry and Crawford, I don't have that feeling. I have the opposite feeling. I know that Coach Williams and Coach Durkin is going to get the best out of those guys. I got Thomas tapping in on a Sunday morning with the War Dam. What's up, Thomas? Longtime supporter of the Uptempo podcast. Devin, good morning. Checking in from Texas. Saw where you said in the comments you were sick. Hope you get to feeling better, Devin. I'm sure it's probably that constant change of weather. That's what, man. 75 last week, 28 this morning. Like, how are my sinuses supposed to keep up, bro? Hope you get to feeling better, Devin. Thank you for being here with us. Marshall says, I think this new coaching staff is getting the best players they can get within the amount of money they want to pay for. It definitely doesn't feel like they're overpaying, Nick. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree with that because I don't think they're overpaying. I think they're getting guys that are in the range of the production of what they feel like they can pay. Let me rephrase that. I think they're getting guys that fit the production of what they want to pay. I don't think they're not willing to pay guys. Mm-hmm. I think they're just willing to pay guys for what they produced on the field because they know that. How can I say this? They are more inclined to pay a guy who has shown production on the field than a guy who has the potential and the talent. And I give you, Kurt Signetti said in the interview one time, he said years ago he learned to trust production more than the potential of a player. And I think that's what this staff is doing. So they're willing to pay a guy because the numbers tell us that there is a pattern of what this guy can do on the field. And we can more certainly say with more certainty that if he steps here with what we can coach him and bring him up and put him in, we should at least get that level of production or better. Is what I think. So yeah, I think they're paying based off of what the production is saying. Is what's telling them, you know. And that's just my thought process on it. I don't think they. I think that Alex Golesh and his staff, unless you are a can't miss prospect, the numbers have to prove for us in order. The numbers have to tell us that you are worth this amount of money. So. And it's not that many can't miss prospects out there in college football.
Right.
So, you know, that's just how I see it.
I wonder too how much, and I'm sure I'm looking at it from a whole viewpoint, like kind of zoomed out, looking at the whole roster. So I'm pretty sure if we really tapped in every individual case, it would be different. But I wonder just how much culture plays a part in this, and to where they're saying, look, for everything you just said, Nick, in terms of actually being wise with the money, because we're about to be around some guys at the Senior Bowl. We're about to be around some NFL GMs who are going to get themselves fired at said Senior Bowl because they're going to fall in love with potential.
Yep.
You know, and it's going to cost them their job. You see it every year in the NFL. But I also so everything you said, I'm in agreement with. I also wonder if that second part, if there's another part to it, to where it's, maybe we did want this guy, but we felt like if we gave him that much money, some of the other stuff that we've already told players that are now on our roster, it wouldn't gel.
That makes sense too.
We're trying to build this culture here.
That makes sense too.
And trying to build a locker room. And now, across all of college football right now, teams are struggling, having issues with trying to figure out how to manage this part of it, because every year the market it gets a little more expensive. It's what it looks like to me. I mean, you got to look. I'm not trying to throw shade at the kid. There's no way in hell, Nick, I would have gave Buddy $5 million that Texas Tech did, that quarterback. I'm not saying he sucks. He doesn't suck, but $5 million?
Yeah,
that's absurd.
Yeah.
That's absurd for that kid. So every year it feels like the market goes up more and more. And it's like, I just you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what issues can come from a veteran player who's been on a team a couple of years saying, wait, y'all just gave this guy how much to come here out the portal? Wait, you just gave this high school kid how much and he hasn't won any games for y'all? And I'm out here getting reps, winning games?
Yep.
I definitely think there was a lot of that going on the previous Auburn team, just because. And I'm not even 100% mad at this. You were playing the game, but just because Auburn was just paying. What is it going to cost to get you? All right, cool. Bang. Here it is. Like, again, pull it out individually. And you can say, well, it made sense. We had to win that recruitment. Well, it made sense. We had to get this guy to win. You know, we needed to bolster this position. We needed to bolster this position. We had to pay that. But when you zoom out and look at it, 1,000 feet up, all of a sudden, if you've accumulated a roster of 50, 60 guys like that.
Yep.
And then you start hearing words about the word complacency, right? And all this kind of stuff. So it's a very fascinating where college football is at right now, and all of the things that these coaches have to manage.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on, man. You really do need a massive staff. Like, you need a massive off-field staff, on-field staff. The program has to be lock and step, everybody moving in the same direction.
Agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and then the fact of the matter is too, like, I think this staff is, I feel like this staff is going to, find ways when it comes to the money part to, like, we want guys that fit this, but these numbers have to be this number in order for us to pay this number.
Mhm.
You know, like there are going to be guidelines. Like it's going to look more NFL-ish
Yeah.
on the business side, because they're going to be like, all right, this is the range we're willing to pay a guy in this area, unless he's one of those can't miss type targets that we just have to go out and be like, he's going to just instantly just make us that much better in that room. If it's not, you got to fit within it. Like your production numbers got to fit within this parameter. The measurables have to tell us this, and then that tells us this is how much you are worth paying for at that particular time. That's just a disciplined method. That's just a disciplined method of just doing things. And if you just stick to that method, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to have a roster of guys that's going to be bought in, like you just said, and then the winning going to come behind it. So, you know, it is what it is. In my opinion, I believe that's what it is. So, yeah, man, I look at it and I think that's probably the best way to go now, especially in this era of college football, because I tweeted out a couple of weeks ago. I said, I don't think blue chip ratio is going to mean that much in this new era of college football. I think more talent evaluation and trying to pick through, you know, the weeds of, you know, guys that are getting paid coming out of high school, and looking at that and seeing, okay, you were getting paid this coming out of high school, but now you're in the portal after a year, but you didn't really produce much. So are we really paying for what you did in high school and the potential, or are we paying for what the production is telling us? Or what the production numbers are telling us? So yeah, I think talent evaluation is going to be a lot more important than blue chip ratio. As soon as this season, definitely next season, in my opinion.
You're definitely, I mean, tomorrow night is going to be entertaining for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
One thing is that you kind of have programs that have built their rosters in two different ways.
Yep.
And not so much in football. They both are trying to attack the line of scrimmage and win up front. They're actually kind of similar in terms of like their build as a football team.
Yep.
But in terms of the way they actually went about building that roster and getting to that point, very, very different. And what is going to be interesting is, I know how this is going to go, because people just like to make black and white statements, and they just like to talk in absolutes. So whoever wins tomorrow night, people, whatever side, is going to come out and say that's the correct way to do it.
Oh yeah.
If Indiana wins, then all the media and stuff is going to be like, that's the way you do it nowadays. That's the way you build it. What they did is the correct way. Everyone else should follow suit. If Miami wins, then there's going to be the other side going, nope, you still got to drop bags. You still got to pay money. You still got to play the game, blah, 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 blah. I'm here to say, like I think it was last week, I said, I think it's going to be like Major League Baseball, man.
Yep.
I think you're going to have the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yep.
Who are, you know, are out there, your Texases of the world, your Oregons of the world, who just, money ain't no thing. If we want you, we'll pay it.
Yep.
Cool. And whatever comes with it, comes with it. Ferraris, all that stuff they got going on in Texas, here. You're going to have other teams that take a money ball approach.
Yep.
And then you'll have some teams, I think Auburn kind of falls in this category, to where you're going to try to do a little bit of both.
Yep.
I think Auburn's going to try to do a little bit of both. And there's going to be some money ball. We're trying to get value. A lot about what you talked about in terms of evaluation. Let's hit it. Let's find good value here and hit on an evaluation, like what Cignetti's done. And there's also going to be times when Auburn has a 5-star on campus, big 4-star on campus, and they just go, "We want this kid.
Exactly.
We think it's going to hit. We need him at this position. We're going to pay. We're going to drop the bag."
Yep.
So I think you're going to see a nice mix moving forward from this staff. And I think for Auburn, every institution is built differently. I think for Auburn, that's probably the way to go, because Auburn's still a big program. Auburn still has the bag, but you're not quite that in terms of what like Texas and Oregon and A&M and those guys have. You're a step below. So you're just gonna have to kind of find unique ways to do it. And I think you're gonna see a bunch of different methods across the country. I think you're gonna see there's not just one way to do this anymore. Before the portal, before the NIL, there was kind of like one model,
one way.
How it built a program. Yeah. Now, stacked talent. You know, Saban would take guys that he wasn't going to play for 2 or 3 years just to keep them off of Auburn's team when they, you know, so those days are done. You're going to see a lot of different ideas and strategies. And I think there's a lot of different ways it can work. You got, again, you're going to see tomorrow night two clashing ideas as to how to build a roster face off.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You doing a live stream?
Oh yeah, man. We definitely
Yeah,
live streaming
yeah.
National Championship tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be there.
Pop over there with you, buddy.
Yeah.
Corey says, are recruits allowed to come to A-Day? They have been in the past, so
Yeah.
I don't assume there being anything. Now, rules are always changing, so that's why I had that caveat. But they have before, so I don't think
that's a dead period. I don't think that is. Is that a recruiting dead period?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, Auburn's had a lot of people.
A lot of
It was like Hugh Freeze's second, maybe his second A-Day. Or maybe been his first, but there was one of them where there was like 15 kids from Pensacola alone.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, half of these kids aren't even caliber. Yeah, but they just had, there was like just 200 people had went kind of thing, So that never been an issue before, Corey. I can't imagine it would be one now, but you never know. Rules are always changing in college football. Jan says, I was getting past impatient and approaching worry, but happy with the trenches. Yeah. I hear you, Jan. I hear you, Jan. We'll talk about the other side of the trenches here in just a second. My guy Fly Butch says 148 watching, only 32 likes. Come on, folks. Show some love. We're up to 210 now. So all 210 of you, hit that thumbs up button, man. I'm sure there's a couple of gums watching in the weeds that won't help us out with a thumbs up button. For the most part, Auburn family, let's make it happen. Let's hit that like button. Zudit says, this just feels different from the last 7 years. I see a coach and a staff with a plan. And that's to run the ball, make big plays in the passing game, and play great defense and make our opponents quit. Yeah, I hope you're right, but I mean that appears to be the plan. Can they implement it? Can they build the roster? Can they execute that actual game plan on Saturday? So far, so good for Coach Alex Golesh everywhere he's been. But this is obviously his biggest job yet, his biggest task yet. So looking forward to it, man. This is going to be. I haven't been excited about Auburn football in a long time, outside of just your natural excitement.
Yeah.
So, this is gonna be a really long off season.
I'm gonna ask you. You just made a statement. You said this is his biggest job yet. Which one do you think was harder for him? Leaving Tennessee, going to a USF team that hadn't won 4 games in 3 seasons, and building that program up to 7 wins his first year, 7 wins his second year, and then 9 wins this past season, or coming to a program like Auburn, who has just been on the cusp of winning, but the way it looked has not looked as what it should have looked based on what was on the based on what was on the team. Which one do you think was harder? Or is harder?
I think the current task, because if you're coming into a situation at South Florida where the cupboard's already bare, there's no food in the pantry.
Okay.
I gotta put food in the pantry.
Okay.
What if you walk up to the pantry and it looks like it's full of food?
Okay.
But you turn the can upside down and half the shit's spoiled.
Okay, that's a good one. That's another good.
That's why I think it's happening to him. I think he opened up that pantry. He's like, boy, oh boy, look at all this stuff we have here. You want how much money?
Okay. All right.
You did what? No, matter of fact, we're actually gonna have to throw this away and then go to the grocery store and get another one. So yeah, that would be the analogy I would use there, Nick.
Okay. I can rock with that.
Alex says, at least we got one Womack in this recruiting cycle.
Oh man, that's funny. That's hilarious, man. Hey, you know that there's a Twitter account. It's the Ghost of Braylon Womack on Twitter that's going crazy right now. I don't know if anybody has seen that, but it's a funny account on
Is it Auburn based?
I don't know if it's Auburn based, but it's a dude.
He ended up going to state, right?
Yeah, he ended up going to Mississippi State. Yeah. It's called the Ghost of Braylon Womack. I was like, what is going on with this guy? Like, who is this dude?
Never even played it down yet.
I'm like, all right, man, this is funny.
This staff is less willing to pay the suck tax. They don't believe they suck, but be who you say you are. Yeah, I love that, man. That's a great point, buddy. again, there's multiple approaches here. I understand the previous staff paying the suck tax. Like, I get it. And if the scheme and if the process on Monday and Tuesday and all that, if the way you implemented the game plan, if all of that was cohesive, it would have worked.
Yeah.
But we all know what the main issue was now. So yeah. And I also think too, and we could make a whole episode on this another time. I also think that Hugh Freeze was paying the suck tax because of the previous reputation and stain that was on Auburn. Now, when Hugh Freeze has left, the stain is even bigger, and it's even deeper. It's going to be even harder to get that stain out of the minds of these players and these parents that you want to come into the program. Auburn has sucked for a long time. And the last head coach just fell flat on his face.
He did.
So the perception right now, pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. I mean, if you're a 16-year-old junior in high school right now, you were maybe born the year that Cam Newton went off and won the Heisman and won the national championship. You at the very least were like 1 year old and you don't remember it. So look, man, at the end of the kick six, there is not a current high school recruit.
Very true.
That Auburn's trying to get in this class moving forward here that it was even old enough to remember the kick six.
Very true. Very true.
So
very true.
What I'm saying here to this point about the suck tax is, don't pay it. Proof of concept it. Go out there and go 7-5, 8-4. I know we all want more than that. Obviously, 10-2 would be fantastic.
It would
just go out there and have a winning season in year one.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, go out there and go 7-5 next year. Win the bowl game, finish 8-5, and watch the vibe shift.
Yep.
You just like Auburn is now officially at the point to where you gotta prove it. You gotta prove it. The people that are on the side of the stadium. Man, you got to pressure wash them pictures there. So
you got to.
Okay. They've been there forever. There haven't been no new moments. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Every hype video, every pregame hype video at Jordan-Hare Stadium ends with a kick six. Why? Yes, this is one of the greatest plays in sport history. I never want to down it, but it's the last big play Auburn made.
Yeah, very true. Very true, man. Very true.
So yeah, that suck tax was real. I do love the fact that this team or this staff has said, you know what? No, we're going to win games. You want to be a part of it or not? So love that. Sub-Zero 2516 says, War Damn Eagle fan. What's up, buddy? All right, let's talk about some concerns, Nick, as we sit here today. And I want to preface this by saying, look, it's not over. Just because the portal is officially closed, you can still have visits.
Yeah.
There will still be guys committing, okay? So I understand the process is not done. But as we sit here today, 9:55 a.m. Central Time, January 18th, 2026. Nick, what is your biggest concern right now about this Auburn football roster?
I don't want to say it's always going to be a concern. The offensive line is always going to be a concern for me because it's just one of those position groups that where you just have to gel together. I mean, I remember a coach saying this, when you get off the bus and you get on the field and you look on the other side of the field and everybody in a position group looks almost the same, that team has a system. I can see that Auburn, Joel Gordon, this offensive staff, Alex Golesh, and those guys have a system of what they want at the offensive line position. They want somebody that's 6'5", 6'6", at the lowest 6'4". They want them to be somewhere between 310 to 325 at the max. So when you look at the guys that they brought in, all of those guys kind of fit that mold. You know what I'm saying? They're not really heavy. They're not really like kind of just these wide, just bulky type guys. They kind of look athletic, and especially what they want to do in the run game when you get into the pinning pulls, when you get into pulling tackles, when you get into pulling guards, when you get into duo blocks, when you get into just straight up man blocking, when you get into, a trap game that they want to do in the run game and stuff of that nature. And with the up tempo that they want to run, they got to have offensive linemen that have the stamina, they can get their second win quick, and that have the ability to be able to, keep up with what they want to do in this offense. The thing for me is if we take a deep dive into this offensive line, Stan Ramil had injuries at Michigan State. I think he started 14 games over 2 years, something like that. Like this past season, I think he only played 5 games.
Yeah,
he had an injury and he couldn't play the rest of the season. Look at Joseph Simmons, man. Joseph Simmons, I think he's a decent tackle in my opinion. I think he is. I looked at some of his tape. There are things that he can that he can improve on. Every offensive lineman, there's something that they can improve on. I think he's decent enough to come in and be able to be one of those guys that can do enough to not have a lot of pressure on the quarterback because he played left tackle for JMU. TJ Hendrick from Ole Miss, a guy that can play tackle or guard. So when I look at him, the most previous comp that we have of somebody like that is Dylan Wade. Dylan Wade played every single position on the offensive line. So can he be the Dylan Wade of this group? And then of course you have the two Coles. I call them the two Coles. Cole Best and Cole Skinner. That's what I call them. So the guys that came from USF with Alex Golesh and Hutternick. I'm gonna get it right. I look at it and I just say, man, like the gelling on the offensive line is always going to be the issue for me. Finding 5 guys that can move in unison and understand exactly what it is, because our problem last year literally was not run blocking. The problem was trying to be able to just pass off stunts and twists. Couldn't do that well at all for some reason.
That Oklahoma game was insane.
For some reason, we could not move our eyes just like this, just to see if one person, if one guy comes this way. Well, something tells me if a defensive tackle is slanting to the B gap, well, guess what? There may be somebody wrapping around that's trying to come up the middle. Maybe I should just keep my eyes moved and just try to keep my hands and keep my hand in this placement in this gap, so I know that if something happened, I can move my foot that way, so I can kind of at least get in his path to stop him. Little stuff like that. It's always the little things that end up causing major problems to where we're sitting here talking about Jackson Arnold holding on to the ball too long, or Jackson Arnold not throwing the ball like he needs to, or Jackson Arnold getting sacked, and now he's getting a lot of the blame, and stuff like that. So it's just the offensive line. The offensive line gelling is where I'm looking at. I mean, I think they got a lot of guys in here who they feel that they can come in and they can coach up and get them, because if you look at all the measurables and how they look, they all kind of fit. They all kind of look in that same kind of mold. So that's always going to be my concern every year, unless there is an offensive line where you have majority of the line coming back and you only lose like one person and you are keeping a very core group. We are rebuilding a whole new offensive line. So that's going to be my concern about that. And to be honest with you, I won't know much about it probably until you play Florida. To be completely honest with you. I mean, I think Southern Miss can give you some run there. It depends on what they do on the defensive side of the ball. Charles Huff, he's now at Memphis, so who knows what the defense looks like there. But if you're looking at just comparable competition and things of that nature, it would probably take me some time to actually sit there and look at it and say, yeah, man, this. How far will we go? It's always going to be the offensive line. How far will the offensive line take us? We talk about quarterback. Yeah, Byron Brown can get you out of some things, but you don't want him running around all season, because if that happens, that now can lead to injury. And a guy that's moving so much, you don't want your quarterback taking that many hits, even though he invites it. You still don't want him taking those kind of hits, on a weekly basis. Can we just get 1 week where you just throw the ball for 250 yards and not take a hit? So, offensive line is just going to always be the position that I look at and just be like, man, we got to figure out a way. How do they gel is what it is.
Yeah, it's my main concern as well, buddy. And I say that in saying we entered last season
Oh man,
and I was really confident
me too.
in the talent. I'm gonna be in the talent. Now, after year 2, to be clear, after year 2, I called for Jake Thornton to be fired.
Mm,
I did not think he needed a third season. I
mm.
thought we had seen all we needed to see. So I always had that question about him. Was never really a believer. Everything was kind of confirmed about halfway through the second season. I was like, yo, this is okay. But the talent,
Mhm.
Xavier Chaplin, Mason Murphy, right? These were high-ranked portal guys.
Yep.
It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't gel. Everything you talked about needed to happen didn't happen. They couldn't pick up a stunt. They couldn't pick up a twist to save their life. And it made no sense. And if it gets you 1 or 2 times, okay. But like you said, eventually, buddy, when Oklahoma keeps doing the same thing, how are we not like that's what they're doing?
Yes.
How are we not prepared for that? The coaching was so poor on the offensive line for the last 3 years for Auburn. I don't think you can overstate it. I think that I'm just gonna be nice, but goodness gracious, man. It's just absurd how bad it was. Y'all saw it. So you had all these guys that were super talented last year on that O-line, and it didn't matter.
Oh,
It didn't work. It didn't gel. So I understand that part of it. But as it sits here today, man, I'm looking at the bodies. I don't see an SEC caliber offensive line right now. I don't see enough. I don't see the guys in the room that can create that. Now, we don't know anything about this staff at Auburn. Is the system, is the scheme that good to where, look, they got a plan and Stanton Ramil comes in and stays healthy, and I think the kid from Oregon State's name was Strand. If he comes
yes.
in and he's healthy and good to go, whatever, right? Does somebody like a Jacoby Ward take that next step? What do you get from Kale Ellis? So there's a lot to be determined there. But I would say look at Auburn's movements to tell you that they're not satisfied because they wanted to bring in the kid from Ohio State.
They did.
They tried. They just didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't win that battle. They wanted to bring in the kid from Maryland. LSU got the first visit. He didn't leave.
He didn't leave.
He was actually supposed to be coming today, I believe.
Yep, he was.
And never even got there. So just watching the coaching staff's moves, they're telling us they're not comfortable with really the interior. They are definitely trying to go out and get a starting caliber guard or more. The moves they've made this week tell you that. And they haven't been able to do that yet. So as we sit here today, that would be where my concern is. And then to kind of like play into your part there about Brown being healthy for the whole year. There's nothing proven behind him at quarterback. Nothing.
That's a good point. It's a great point.
So you've got a bunch of young guys.
Yep.
So keeping him healthy
Great
is
point.
paramount. If Auburn's going to reach their ceiling and reach their potential next year, he has to be the guy. I like the potential of Taya. I like the potential of some of those other guys, but like we just talked about potential.
Yeah, that's true.
So, there's nothing behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And look, to be fair, I've said this on the show, but I want to reiterate it here. What Ashton Daniels was willing to do last year was super rare. Like, how often you're going to have a guy that started 20-plus games at the P4 level come in and say, I will be your backup.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Ashton Daniels or Jackson Arnold's going to start. I get that. I'm just going to come here and just chill. And you got a hotshot 5-star freshman. I just want to be here. You're not going to get a lot of those. So they kind of built the room the best they could because every quarterback is out there looking for a path to playing time right now, a way to get onto the field. So it's just a really tough market. Once you have your starter solidified, how many veteran guys can you get to come in to be willing to be his backup? That's hard to do. But we all know the deal here. You talked a lot about in the first segment about the running game and the potential that those running backs have. Got to have guys to block for them.
True.
So that is kind of where I'm at with it, man. Now there's still time. Not hitting the panic button on it or anything like that. But as we sit here today, like I feel like Auburn still needs to add. I would like to see another tackle with some experience. I know that it's not going to be a big time, name or nothing like that, but I would like to see you go get a guy that's got some reps to add depth to that tackle spot because the guys you brought in have injury concerns.
Yes.
And then I feel like you need one, maybe two interior guys that are going to start. So, yeah, and that's going to be hard to do. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. Let's see now. Hey, Jacoby Ward, you want to help us out?
Ty Buster.
Ty Buster, that's my guy, Nick.
Yeah,
that's my
man.
guy. So I did last year when we were doing all the recruiting stuff. Ty Buster was my favorite. Ty Buster was my favorite. Guy that we covered. We did the film reviews on and all that. I absolutely love his game.
Yes.
I think he's going to be a great player.
Yes.
So
agree.
Could he take that next step and be that guy? That'd be great. That'd be
I'm
great.
gonna go out on a limb and say I think Ty Buster starts this year.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it. Ty Buster will be one of the starting 5 offensive linemen against Baylor this year for Auburn. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that. I believe it.
Good point here. To be fair, the backup quarterbacks. To be fair, the backup quarterbacks, our fans were willing to have Deuce as a backup with no experience. Yeah, you're just again. It's a great point you make here, Brandon. And yeah, you're just not going to go get like whatever. I don't know what, man. Whatever Hugh Freeze, whatever he tells these people, like whatever he told Ashton Daniels to just be willing to come in and sit. Like I don't know. I'll never say he's not a good salesman. But whatever they pitched to get him to agree to even do that, crazy. So yeah, it's just I feel like every team out there is like, yeah, I would love to have a backup veteran quarterback. Like how in college football, man, how easy is that to actually attain right now? And then, like, on the flip side of that, it's like, okay, I got my experienced guy. I got my, we talk about layered depth in certain rooms. It feels like it's impossible to do at quarterback right now because you're trying to groom a guy. Auburn's trying to groom a Deuce Knight, but every offseason it's free agency and quarterback is a crazy market. And it's just how you even build up a quarterback of the future. How you even have that guy like that in itself is really, really difficult. So I do like the kind of the situation that Auburn's in currently. Like you got a guy that has 1 year of eligibility and then that's it. So in terms of the portal next year, you're going to have a wide open path again to go get somebody if you want to. If Taya or whoever has a great season and shows that he's ready to take the reins, then you can do that. And also, you shouldn't be too impeded in the 2027 recruiting class. You should be able to go out and get somebody of a big caliber because there's nothing in front of them. I know that there's those young guys and Lachlan Hewlett and all. I don't want to throw shade at them, but like it's just a very open competition.
It's an open competition.
Yeah, behind Byron Brown, you have no idea who the actual future quarterback of Auburn is. So. Very interested. And let's talk about the 2027 class to wrap up today's episode for just a second. Yesterday was Tiger Day.
Okay.
That's what they're calling the Junior Day. So on top of all the portal visits, there was a lot of high school recruits yesterday. One, Israel Abrams, a quarterback from Illinois. He is 247 has him listed as the number 5 quarterback. Oh, they have him as number 2 quarterback. He's composite number 5. They have him as the number 2 quarterback in the country. And they have him as the number 22nd overall player in the country.
Yep.
6'4", 185. Also, as of now, for January 31st, Andre
Adams.
Yeah, Adams, I believe. I wrote it down real scribbly. Andre Adams is set to visit another high-ranked quarterback as well. But Alex Golesh, Nick, starting to get some of these young quarterbacks, some of these young prospects into Auburn and do their OVs. I don't say OVs, but get them to visit and kind of get introduced to the system and get introduced to the staff and all that. I'm really excited to see how this 2026 class shapes up for a lot of reasons. Okay, we know that right now, and there may be some kind of rule change that makes this invalid because I feel like recruiting has been under a constant is constantly changing. The landscape is constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
But over the past 2 seasons in particular, and very much so last year, what you've seen is all the commitments come in the offseason, all the commitments come in the summer. You kind of want to have the foundation of your class set when opening day kicks off. Now, another thing we've seen here, y'all just stay with me here. Another thing we've seen is coaches that come in their first year, they get the benefit of the doubt. They get to sell the vision. So you're kind of like, the vision can be sold. Hugh Freeze sold a vision for 2 years. It got to the third season after the second year of no proof of concept, of actual bad tape that went against the vision being sold. That third cycle for that third year, that's when you saw the doubt kick in. What I'm saying here is Golesh right now, he should have a nice little bump in terms of like new guy, new vision. We can sell it. So I'm interested to see how good they are at selling that vision, because there's no proof of concept one way or the other. So hear me out, Nick. If they go out next year and they go 9-3, and then they have a great class moving forward, we can point to it and say, well, they went 9-3, and they showed that they were moving in the right direction, and then it was off and rolling. Likewise, if they go 5-7 next year, the shoe will be on the other foot of that argument. Right now, you have no wins and no losses.
Very true.
So, am I crazy in thinking you can kind of actually see like we're going to get a good look at just their recruiting chops?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you know what? To that point, Elijah Haven, number 1 quarterback in the 27 class, has Auburn in his top 4. Number 1 quarterback in his class out of Baton Rouge, 6'5", 215 guy, 5-star quarterback. He threw for over 4,100 yards last year, 73 touchdowns in Louisiana. Has Auburn in his top 4 after a coaching change. That to me, that says a lot about what Gordon and Golesh has done to try to build relationships with players. For him to even be able to just have the hat on the table, and just like Auburn is a school that I'm seriously considering in my top 4. Who knows how serious it is, or what it could be. Looking at that gives me a lot of raising my eyebrows a little bit, because I wasn't expecting that. But then you talk about Israel Abrams out of Arlington Heights, Illinois, man, 4-star kid. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", 187. A guy that I think he's coming out of Montini Catholic in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very athletic guy. Very, very a guy that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, took his team to a state championship last year. Or
6'4", Nick.
6'4"? Okay, I was wrong then. So 6'4", like 190, if I'm not mistaken, 187, 190.
187.
Yeah. And you have him. Then you have, of course, Andre Adams out of Antioch in Tennessee.
Yeah, I like his game.
Yeah, I like him too. I like him a lot. So I mean, you got 2 really highly rated quarterbacks that have Auburn, like, not just have them on the radar board, but are looking to come visit. And you look at the track record of what Golesh and what Golesh has done with quarterbacks. So you look at Hendon Hook, you look at Joe Milton, you look at you look at what happened with Brock Purdy at Iowa State. You look at what he's done with Byron Brown at USF, and who wasn't even the starter when he got there. He got to USF and saw this guy on the field and was like, why are he playing? Why this dude ain't, and basically turned this guy into a 3,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher last year. And if I'm a quarterback and I see Alex Golesh or Joel Gordon, my antennas initially peak up, because I'm like, if I have any type of support system around me and they're telling me this and they telling me these names, I'm like, oh, I need to go check these guys out. I need to see. I need to see exactly how these guys can help me get to the next level and how this can actually, help my game, because these aren't just names. Like you coach Byron Brown, one of 12 people to throw for 1,000 yards. I mean, throw for 3,000 yards and rush for 1,000. Man, I look at it, man. I'm excited about what the quarterback play at Auburn could be for years to come. We talked about Tristan Tia from Oregon State, 4-star kid. from California. And you look at him, I think it was like 6'2", 205.
Mm-hmm.
You look at him and you sit here and say, man, if you can if you can start the pipeline, bro, from California to Auburn and what those quarterbacks, man,
I wonder if Auburn's ever even had a California quarterback.
I don't know. But history tells us those guys normally pan out. That's what history tells us, So I mean, if you're able to do that and you have those guys looking at Auburn, man, I'm excited for what the quarterback play could be for Auburn, and could Auburn become QBU? That's all I'm saying. Could Auburn become QBU? I'm just throwing it out there. Don't take it.
Don't even have to be QBU. Just not be QB Deathland. just don't be QB black hole, right?
Oh man,
it would be great to say you can go to Auburn and get to the pros at quarterback. A good start would say you can go to Auburn and move the football.
Yeah, that part. That'd
be a nice start. Tess is here. What's up, Tess? Says, yeah, everybody's talking about this ghost guy. Ghost knows. So I gotta go follow the ghost of Braylon Womack.
I'm telling you, man, it's hilarious.
Usually with Giants says, Nick, I swear to God, the dude is on the staff.
Gotta be, man. He got to be.
Why haven't I seen this account?
You gotta go follow.
Yeah, send it to me. Our guy WK Sweat 71 says, I have zero concern about this coaching staff. For the roster, it's got to be O-line holding up through a 9-game SEC season. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Here's the thing, too, that I have to keep reminding myself. I have to remind myself often, get out of your Auburn bubble. Get out of your Auburn bubble and look at these other teams.
Yes.
I go watch these shows of these other teams. You know what they're all saying? I don't know what our offensive line is going to be next year.
Very true.
It's a big concern for a lot of teams right now. Because they're just quality offensive line is hard to find, man. It's hard to find. Sweet Stuffer 2568 says, I like the shift in attitude in the building. You cannot teach desire. Yeah, you can't just pull somebody aside and have a talk with them and put dog in them. Doesn't work that way. That's not the way that goes. So yeah, there's I posted this on X yesterday, and it's got a lot of tweets and retweets, but I mean it, man. There's not, especially the last two, and you can probably go back further than that, but it's just been a long time since Auburn's had this combination of attitude and work ethic. And I'm not saying that like Gus Malzahn didn't work hard, but we all know he wasn't a hard ass, right? This combination of Alex Golesh.
There's me sending that to you.
I got you. Yeah, it's really intriguing. And I don't know, it's probably just because the roster's not complete. I don't really know what to expect next year. But man, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I feel good about the future. I don't know if that's 2027, 2028. I don't know. Because I understand. Like if we go 6-6, 7-5 next year, you're not gonna hear anything from me because I understand just how bad some things were when Golesh came in and everything that he had to do and he's had to take on.
Yeah.
And just how difficult it is to rebuild an entire team through the transfer portal. There's probably going to be some holes. Like you had to replace 2 starting corners. You had to completely rebuild an offensive line, completely rebuild a defensive line. We had to completely rebuild the quarterback room. Rebuild the quarterback room. 4 new quarterbacks.
For the second year in a row.
Yeah, bro. So all of that considered, man, I don't know what to expect next year. I would like to have our first winning season. I mean that I will set that expectation. But looking 5 years into the future, I think Alex Golesh is still going to be the head coach, and I think Auburn's going to be doing a good job. Like I'm really, man, I'm buying in.
Yep.
I'm buying into this process that right when we hired Alex Golesh, that was your favorite. That was your main word that you loved about it, was his process-oriented mindset. So that's going to do it all for today's episode, man. Record prediction. I can't, buddy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want me to give you a number right now, based off of what the schedule looks like, I would say Florida's rebuilding. I would say LSU has some rebuilding going on. Ole Miss, who's going to be the quarterback at Ole Miss? Is Trinidad Chandler's going to be there, or is it going to be Deuce Knight? Yeah. Georgia's going to be Georgia because I think Georgia still has some guys, has Gunnar Stockton back, things of that nature. Arkansas is going to be breaking in a new quarterback and a new head coach. Mississippi State, what does Mississippi State look like? Who's going to be the quarterback at Mississippi? Well, Kamario Taylor, he's going to be there, but how does that defense? Does the defense take another step? Because you look at Mississippi State last year. Mississippi State had a 21-point lead against Texas in the fourth quarter and blew it because the defense couldn't stop anything. Late in the game. You look at Alabama. Who's going to be the quarterback at Alabama? Is it going to be Austin Mack? Is it going to be Keelan Russell? Alabama has to restock and refill their entire defensive front seven. Keon Keeley, LT Overton, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Lawson, all of those guys are gone. They have to. Everybody that played in the front seven for Alabama next year is gone. Or contributed to it is gone. They have to rebuild that. Tennessee, is Joey Aguilar going to be the quarterback at Tennessee next year? How does that look?
There are major questions at every team on this schedule.
That's what I'm saying. Vanderbilt is breaking in a new quarterback. They lost Brandon Fontenette, one of their top defensive guys on the defense side of the ball at Vanderbilt. They lost him to Colorado in the transfer portal. Baylor's going to be breaking in a new quarterback in DJ Lagway. Michael Trigg is not there anymore. There are a lot of question marks on this roster. So I'm not even going to sit here and say I'm not even going to give you a number. It would be irresponsible for me to do that. For content purposes, I can be like, 7-8 games maybe. But if I'm giving you a legit analysis of what I think happened, I don't know. Like let's see what happens, after spring practices and see what a lot of schools are saying, like how the depth chart is starting to shake out some, and let's evaluate that. And then from there, I'll be able to tell you exactly what it is. As DC Wolf would say from Auburn Addicts, man, so goes Trigger Man, so goes the offense. And right now, I can only say that I can tell you this. Auburn probably has one of the most solid quarterbacks in the SEC right now.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot. Sam Levitt is at LSU, but it seems as if Tennessee is still trying to get him to come there. But I think the LSU thing is a done deal, even though there's still rumblings about that happening. Like there is a lot of questions in the SEC when it comes to just who's going to be on the roster and who's going to be playing where. So I can't give a number. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I know that was a long answer to say I can't give a number, but I can't give a number. I can't.
Yeah, I can't either. Like you said, Nick, there's so many questions. And it's funny too. It's like I think back to SEC Media Days last year. Boy, I nailed a lot of my predictions about Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
I missed on a lot of the other teams because I don't know them the way that I know Auburn, right? So, but like you said, man, so many questions. You got. I would have to look at a list of the quarterbacks, but I'm with you. He's one of the top guys. So I'll say this. If the defense has been what it has been since DJ Durkin has been at Auburn, and if Byron Brown is the same quarterback, production, no, you're not going to have 3,000 and 1,000. I would assume you're not going to have that at Auburn. But if the quality of play is the same that it was at South Florida, if he's still that good, on that alone, I'd be willing to give you 8 or 9. But here's the caveat: there's why I can't do that yet, because I think Lenore Sellers is super talented.
Yeah,
but Lenore Sellers ain't got nobody to block for him. I feel like if you put Lenore Sellers on a lot of these playoff teams, that would have went farther.
Yeah.
Or at least on the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you put Lenore Sellers behind a good offensive line, I think the kid shines. I think he balls out.
Yep.
But he's on one of the worst offensive lines, and he doesn't have anybody to throw to, which I don't think will be a problem for Auburn next year. But yeah, there are examples of good quarterbacks that have pressure in their face and it doesn't matter. So, based off of like the known commodity of DJ Durkin's defense and what I think, like look, I've been pretty open. Y'all know I keep it real. I'll tell you what I really think and feel. I took the heat for not believing in Jackson Arnold. Never buying into the whole it was Oklahoma's fault, blah blah blah. All right. So I'll tell you what I really think. I really think Byron Brown's that dude.
Yeah. Yep.
I really think he's that guy. So like, I want to boog. I want to go to that level. Let me see this roster be complete. Let me see the other rosters around the SEC be complete. But I'll pull up the schedule here just real quick one more time. Baylor, question marks. Florida, question marks. Vanderbilt, question marks. Tennessee, question marks. At Georgia, I'm penciling that as an L until Auburn shows me otherwise. LSU, question marks.
Yep.
Ole Miss, question marks. Arkansas, question marks. Mississippi State, question marks. Stanford. Boy, don't lose that one. And then you go to Bryant-Denny, and like you just said, they're rebuilding their whole defensive front. So, like, yeah, dude, it's just it's wide open. It's wide open. And that's kind of the sport of college football right now. I think that you could see it just like a year to year. You might see a team go 10-2, 11-1. The next year go 5-7. Like
exactly,
it's just it's really crazy, kind of where we're sitting at right now. But this has been a fun episode, man. Thank everybody for being tapped in with us. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Nick just got the credentials from the Senior Bowl, so we will be at the Senior Bowl in 2 weeks. It's coming up quick.
Next week.
Next week. All right. So help us out, guys. Help us out as we travel up to the Senior Bowl and bring you guys the exclusive content. Level up today. JV squad, $3.99 a month. Varsity squad, $5.99 a month. And for all of our new members that have not got in the game day group chat, if you are interested in that, it kind of acts as our message board, where I'll let you guys know when I drop new member content and we just kind of talk and have a good time in there. If you're interested in joining that, message me on X at DMcShad28. Sign up for these memberships today, man. It is the best way to support the Uptempo podcast. But the easiest and freest way is to just like that video, subscribe on the way out of here. That doesn't cost you a dime. If you do want to help us out, man, and support the show, please sign up for those memberships. We would greatly appreciate it. Nick, I'm assuming National Championship watch party tomorrow night. We've got a busy week going on over there at Water Cooler.
Yeah, man, we'll be doing a live stream. National championship game between Indiana and Miami. It's going to be a live game. I'm pretty sure. Hopefully, I don't think this game is going to look anything like Indiana, Oregon. I think it's going to be a really close game for the first 3 quarters, and then we'll see what happens in the fourth quarter. Yeah, man, we'll be doing that tomorrow night. We'll be going about 6:30, a little bit earlier than our normal start time. Excuse me, for the national championship game. Then of course, man. Live shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Video comes out every day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Central. And of course, if you want to support us and check us out, hit the subscribe button over there, like some videos, and of course, man, go to www.watercoolertalksports.com for all of your written needs, college football, SEC football, and of course, Auburn football news that we have over there in written form. So shout out to that, man. We appreciate y'all so much for rocking with us. The Huggy Beard himself, the legend of Sweet Sugar Bat Williams, the Rooster Mac. Shout out to my guy, the Huggy. Shout out to him. We appreciate y'all so much, man, for rocking with us, man. Please, I'm really pushing this website because I put a lot into it, and we do, and it updates daily-ish, if not daily, every other day. So please check out www.watercoolertalksports.com, man. I'm very proud of that one. So
yeah, hey, man. Yeah. Go follow everything that Nick's got going on. Follow both of us because I'm sure we'll do tons of content together next week in Mobile at the Senior Bowl. It'll be a good time. We're looking to get that out to you, Nick. I'm excited to do because there's only 2 Auburn guys there.
Yes.
Right. So there's only so much Auburn that we can do. So if you're like, and it's a new coach that they haven't even played for, so like there's only so much we can do from that standpoint. But man, if you're just a football head,
yeah, man,
gonna have it coming out for you. NFL draft stuff, all that kind of stuff.
Man, the personalities to be there. Louis Riddick. I'm pretty sure Louis Riddick will be there. He was there last year. Of course, all the GMs are there. A lot of head coaches will be there. So man, you just get to interact with all of them because you credentialed. Like you just in the same space as them. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So because I don't cover the Buccaneers, right? I kind of tweet out whatever I want about the Buccaneers. Not that I really hold back anyway, but I'm going to be a little interested if I am in the same vicinity as Todd Bowles. So I have not been nice. I have not been nice.
Oh man. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I'm like
I give you a story from last year. Last year we was at the Senior Bowl last year. And just walking around the field after practice, just talking to some players. And I turn around because I hear a voice that just sound like why does this voice sound familiar? And I turn around and Kirby Smart is standing off of my left shoulder. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, that's Kirby Smart. That is literally Kirby Smart, the head coach of Georgia. Like, I don't like Georgia, but yo, you're Kirby Smart. It's kind of cool to just be like, you just sit there, you just have those conversations, you just see people that you just normally see on television. And now you're in the same room, kind of in the same vicinity at them. That was just cool, Before Brian Kelly got fired, we saw Brian Kelly. Me and Brian Kelly made eye contact with each other. When I was walking by, I was like, hey, that's Brian Kelly. That's cool. If I got a picture with Marcus Freeman. If you saw that, got a picture with Marcus Freeman, which was cool. So yeah, man, it's fun to just be, it's fun to be in the same vicinity as those guys, get a chance to talk to them, just pick their mind about what they think about college football and things, stuff of that nature. So it's fun.
Yeah, SEC Media Days, Georgia. I want to say they went the day before Auburn did.
Yep.
And bro, I literally followed Kirby around for like 3 hours. Just because I wanted to soak it in, bro. Like I wanted to learn.
Yes.
He's getting, obviously he's getting asked some Georgia questions.
Yep.
But he's viewed as like the statesman right now.
Yep.
And so he's getting asked a lot of questions about the sport of college football and what he thinks needs to change and stuff like that. So yeah, I followed him around in every media scrum that was available, just because I wanted to hear a guy of that caliber's thoughts. So yeah, you learn a lot if you just kind of shut up and listen sometimes. So like the videos, because that guy knows ball. He
does.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's episode, man. Thank you guys so much for our members. Stay on the lookout. We have some film reviews already recorded. We'll drop those for you guys soon, most likely tomorrow. Like the video, sub to the channel, Apple, Spotify, 5-star reviews, downloads, all that good stuff over there. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every single one of you. War Damn Eagle. I hope everybody has a good week, man. God bless y'all.